I recently went on a trip with my husband to Mexico. And while we were there, we didn't eat any burritos. We had tacos, some chilaquiles, unbelievably delicious horchata, but no burritos. But when you think about it, it's not that surprising. See, burritos were invented in Mexico during the Mexican Revolution in 1910 by Juan Mendez. He wanted to wrap his food in a warm tortilla so he could transport it and keep it warm on his donkey. And then he realized it tasted so delicious that this was actually a great food to eat, and thus the burrito was invented. But the type of burritos that I eat today, and I'm sure many people, are actually very Americanized burritos, in that they are super stuffed and super large, and not really that traditional to Mexico. But this history is actually perfect for today because we are making a giant burrito cake. My name's Melissa and I'm an artist. I create cakes, sculptures, and a lot of other cool things. Who doesn't love a good burrito? Warm, soft flour tortilla on the outside, filled with delicious rice, beans, meats, veggies, cheese. You name it, you could put it in a burrito. I don't normally eat a lot of burritos just because they're so filling, I can't do it all the time. But if you do, that's really impressive. But I recently went to Chipotle and I usually get the bowl, but my husband was like, no, you should go for the burrito this time. And I did, and it was unbelievable. And I was like, this is so good, but I can't eat another one of these for like a year. Although, talking about this right now is making me want one, so hey, maybe for lunch, who knows? So yes, I am a big burrito fan. In fact, I love all Mexican food in general. I'm a big spicy eater. I love, love, love spicy food. So me and Mexican food go together perfectly. And I was very happy to receive this order for a burrito cake, because how fun is that to recreate a big overstuffed burrito in cake? What's important on this cake is to nail all of that stuffing, our rice, beans, corn, tomatoes, guac, and some meat, and to get that perfect toasted tortilla. And there's some cool techniques I use to make that happen. So let's get to it and create this burrito cake. The shape of the burrito is not too complicated. It's like a long rectangle that you stack up and then carve a little bit. I'm using chocolate cake with Oreo buttercream, which is one of my most requested flavors on my cake flavor list. It's really, really good. I'm making sure to round out one end of the cake where the burrito gets folded and tucked in underneath. I'm creating that angular slit on the front where they go in and cut the burrito in half so you can open up into two pieces, and that's where all the filling will be and fall out onto that board really nicely. A quick layer of chocolate ganache to seal all that cake in, keep it nice and fresh, and I'm ready to add on my modeling chocolate tortilla. So actually pretty simple here. I just roll out a nice big piece of modeling chocolate and I place it on top and I literally fold it in the back like an actual tortilla. Because this burrito is so big, I can't just pick it up and then tuck it under. So I tuck it a little bit as much as I can, trim away the excess, and then I go in and just build it up and recreate that fold a little bit more realistically because I do want it to look realistic here. I crush up a piece of tin foil to give it a wrinkled texture, and then I press it into the modeling chocolate to give it that realistic texture of a compressed tortilla with those wrinkles on it. I add a little bit of shading, a little bit of white to lighten up that ivory chocolate. And then comes the fun part, time to blowtorch. Yes, that is my secret trick to getting a realistic tortilla look on the modeling chocolate. I take my butane torch and I hold it in a few seconds in different places all along the chocolate so it burns it a little bit and it creates the exact look of a warm toasted tortilla. It makes it look so realistic and it's such an easy technique. Safety note, transfer your cake onto a silicone sheet or a metal tray before doing this. Do not torch it on a piece of parchment paper like me. Yeah. While my burrito is chilling in the fridge, I make all of my filling. A lot of people will use white sprinkles as the rice inside the cake, and it does look really, really good, but I was going for ultra realism here, so I had to hand sculpt each one. The beans and corn are also sculpted from fondant. You could also use black jelly beans or the yellow ends of candy corn instead of the fondant for this. Again, I just wanted it to look super realistic. For the tomatoes, I took red gummy bears and just chopped them up into little squares, and I felt I did a pretty good job for some beautiful translucent tomatoes. I had to decide what meat am I putting in the burrito. Am I gonna do steak, some ground beef? Ultimately, I went with some chicken, so like chipotle chicken. They did say they wanted this to be like a chipotle burrito, so I felt chipotle shredded chicken is perfect. And it was really easy to sculpt because it didn't have to look super exact. And then I went in with the coloring to give it that realistic pop, using that caramel golden brown color and then some dark burnt crisp edges. It really felt like some nicely browned seasoned chipotle chicken. The guacamole was fun. I just colored some buttercream green, making sure to give it more of like a brownish green tone, not going super bright and fake looking. Definitely my favorite part was when it was time to stuff this burrito. I made sure to section it a little bit. I didn't want to just throw everything in all together because usually when they fill a burrito, they layer it, you know? They line up the meat and then they line up the chicken and then the tomatoes, yada, yada, yada. So I did my guacamole on one side and then I focused on the tomatoes on top. Rice, beans, and corn were fillers throughout, and chicken was more towards the bottom. And then everything spilling a little bit onto that board to give it more of a natural look, like it's just been sliced open and then poured out a little bit. I used piping gel as my glue to adhere everything onto that chocolate. The base here is wood, actual wood made out of fondant, and I have a video on that and how I did it to get a realistic wood on fondant effect. So you should check out that video after this as well. Once I have all my ingredients in place, I just brush over everything with some piping gel to give it a nice shiny, realistic look. Because all this stuff, you know, it's been cooked, it's hot, it's shiny, it's sweating, and it needs that shine to make it pop. Did you ever know that so much thought and detail could go into just one little burrito? Well, in this case, one giant burrito cake. But yeah, we never shy from the details here. Once I added in all of that stuffing, my mouth was watering. I felt like I had a real life burrito in front of me, and I just wanted to take a huge bite of it. I love how realistic the tortilla turned out. Using that torch was a super fast way to give it that really natural toasted look. It feels like just this warm tortilla just sitting there ready to eat right in front of you. It's such a play on the mind because of course it's all cake, but that's the goal here. And I was super, super proud of this cake. I loved it so much, and my client really loved it too. I'm curious, if you were to make a burrito cake, what stuffing would you put in it? Would you go with the same chipotle shredded chicken or a different meat, different veggies? Let me know in the comments below because I never know, I might make another burrito cake one day and I'd love some cool ideas. If you enjoyed watching me create this burrito cake, please give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe for some other really cool cake and other art videos to come. If you'd like to see the full creation of this burrito from start to finish with no edits, no cuts, you could check that out on my Patreon, which is linked below. There's a lot of other really fun and cool perks and behind the scenes there too. I hope you enjoyed the creation of this realistic burrito cake. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.